Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. In this video, we will continue with Salesforce developer interview question and answer series. Today we will discuss part 4 video where I will be discussing a little bit of Apex, the remaining questions. It's a continuation video. Again, if you have not watched the previous videos of this series, then I strongly recommend you to watch those first. So let's get started. The very first question for today is question number 51. What is a wrapper class in Salesforce? Okay, this is a really important interview question, and interviewer will try to grill you here. Okay, so he just wanted to understand whether you have worked on a complex logic or complex computation, or I would say a complex functionality in your projects or not, right? Or just you have worked on some simple things. So this, if you explain this really well, then he will understand that okay, you might have worked on a complex a program or project or application, whatever it is, right? So the main important thing for this question is you have to explain him the example. Okay, example is really important. If you go and search in the internet, you'll get plenty of different definitions, right? But which if you read, you will not even understand what exactly that means, right? So try to explain the example over here, to impress the interviewer. So let's get and see what is the answer first, and then I'll explain you in detail how you have to answer this question. This is really important. I can't stress it more, but this is really important. So a wrapper class is an Apex class, okay, with a collection of different data types, right? So we can create a collection of different data types with the help of wrapper class, right? As the name suggests, a wrapper class is in Salesforce allows developers to combine different data types and use them for a specific purpose, right? So we can combine different data types, and we can create a class of a type, and then we can utilize it in our complex I would say program. Okay, so a common wrapper class example is displaying the list of accounts on a Visualforce page or a Lightning component along with the checkbox. Okay, so normally this is what the people give example, like we have displayed the number of records in a grid type, and then we also have a checkbox in the beginning of each record, right? So here we are combining checkbox and the account record together, which is nothing but we are wrapping those two things, right? So yeah, this can be a good example. So here we are wrapping account records along with the Boolean value. The checkbox is nothing but the Boolean value, right, which is used for the checkbox. Okay, so this is my wrapper class. Here what I have written is public class wrapper class, wrap account, and then I have declared my account variable here. Okay, so this is nothing but the account record, and I have also declared another variable called Boolean variable. Okay, so and then what I did is I have created a wrapper account. I'm passing an account, and then what it is happening is account is equals to A, selected is equals to false. Okay, by default, it doesn't select anything. Okay, so this is the constructor method. When we create a new wrap account object, we pass an account that is set to the account property, ACC property, right? And we also set the selected value to false, so that by default, as soon as you load that grid or you load the number of records, account records, then it is set to false first, means it is unchecked, right? So that is how is the example. So if you could see, the output of this example is I am combining the fields of account name, billing, state, province, and phone. These are the three fields, which we can get as soon as we declare account A, right? So I have declared account, then with the account, I will get this account name, billing, state, and phone. But how do we get this one, right? If I simply declare an account, we will not be able to get this checkbox, right? So we will not be able to get this output. Okay, that is the main problem. So that is the reason we are using a wrapper class to wrap the account. Okay, wrap the account with the checkboxes. Okay, if you simply declare account and try to display it in a grid form, then it will just display the account fields. Okay, it won't display me this checkbox. Okay, So what are we doing with the wrapper class is we are trying to wrap, or we are trying to combine, and telling the compiler, or telling our compiler that these two are one, because I have combined it using a wrapper class. Okay, so consider these two as one, and then it considers this two as one, and then it displays a boolean variable, or I would say checkboxes on the Visual Force page, or a component, and then along with each checkbox it displays the record. Okay, so you can google the example programs. You will get plenty of full program. I'm not adding the code here for the complete program, but this is how it is for the wrapper class. Okay, so this is one example, but because everyone tells this example, right? So interviewer might ask you, okay, can you tell me a different example of what you did in wrapper class? See, wrapper class is nothing but to wrap things. So let's say, for example, I want to display a grade wherein I want to let's suppose I want to show the opportunities and contacts together in a single grid, in a single grid format, right? Opportunities is a completely different object, and my contact is also a completely different object, right? So if I try to declare opportunity, I will be only be able to show only opportunity, right? And if I declare my contact, then I will be only be able to display the fields of my contact. But my requirement is I want a grade wherein I have 3 columns from opportunity, and I also want 3 columns from contact, right? So for the example sake, just think that every opportunity is having I want to display only one contact, right? Don't go into the details of what if I have an opportunity and if I have three contacts to display. Don't go to that details. Okay, this is an example. So let's think about it. For one opportunity I want to display one more contact. Okay, so in that for that requirement we have to I'll go back to my example. So what we have to do over here is public account acc get and set, right? So this gives me all the accounts fields, and I can declare one more variable called public opportunity opp get and set. Okay, so here in the wrap what I can do is I can pass both account a comma opportunity o. Okay, and then here I can set this in a constructor. Okay, so in that way, if I declare my wrapper and try to use it in my Visual Force page, this wrap gives me an ability to display the columns of account as well as opportunities, or sorry, accounts, or as well as opportunities, or anything. Okay, I'm just giving example of account and opportunities. It could be account and I would say cases, okay, or account or contacts, anything. Okay, so you can give the combination of any example to the interviewers. Okay, so this is not just to display the objects, but you can combine, you can wrap, different other fields also, like primitive fields also. You can create a wrapper and you can declare integer, strings, right, and whatever it is, string, numeric, or boolean as well. You can combine and wrap for your specific requirement, wherein you have to always use these 5 fields together and then do some logic, right, or some computation. So you can wrap those as well. It's not just specific to displaying the accounts and opportunities, or accounts or boolean, or accounts and contacts, or accounts or cases. Okay, not just the objects, but you can wrap any variable. Okay, so even you can wrap the collections as well. Okay, so it's not specific to only few data types, but you can wrap any data type. Okay, basically to wrap it and then to use it together. Okay, wherein you want to use it and display things in a combination, like I've mentioned, like account, and then I want to display a contact together. Okay, so hope I was able to explain you. So you can give now you create your own examples, right? If you want to give an example to the interviewer, you create your own examples also, 2 to 3 4 examples, right? So the best part, right, to clear, or to impress the interviewer, is give it as many examples as you can, right? When you're going and when you're preparing for the interview, think of an example what you can provide along with your answer, right? That will impress the interviewer. So for the wrapper, without example, interviewer will not be impressed, 100% sure. Okay, so he will dig and try to ask you the examples. Next question is question number 52. What are the annotations in Apex, or what are the annotations supported by Apex? Okay, so I have deliberately included this question over here because now we are going to little bit complex topics. Okay, maybe in future we will be discussing text classes and synchronous, asynchronous, feature class, and all those things. So every example or the code for that contains annotations. Okay, so you should beforehand know what are annotations. That is the reason I have included this. Okay, so what are annotations in Apex? Means Apex, an Apex annotation modifies the way that a method or class is used. Okay, annotations are defined with an initial @ symbol. Okay, followed by the appropriate keyword. Okay, let's see what it is, and then I'll explain you a little bit more. So Apex supports the following annotation. The first one is aura enabled. Okay, for example, if you want to call a method from aura components, then a method should have an aura enabled annotation. If you don't write a method from with on aura enabled on top of it, you will not be able to use it in the component, right? So similarly, we have deprecated. Deprecated will not be used on a day-to-day programming, only if you are working with an app exchange company, wherein that company is building the app exchange products. Then only you will be used deprecated a lot, because the deprecate means let's suppose in my first version of in my first version of an app exchange package, I have created a method called add. Okay, and then I have published it, and so many people have started using my add, and they have enhancing, or they are referring to my add method, right? But in my second add, in the sense adding two numbers. Okay, I'm just giving you a simple example. Okay, so in my second version, I thought, okay, add might not be a right name for that. I'll change it to sum. Okay, so going forward, my new versions will all have sum, but we cannot delete that add method. Okay, we cannot delete that add method because your clients for which you have already installed the app exchange packages, they might be using that add. They will be pointing, or they will be referring that add methods for their enhancements. Okay, you cannot simply go and delete that method, right? Which is possible if you are working for a service based company, wherein only your company is using some methods, no one else outsiders are using. So deprecated is not widely used for a service based project. I mean, if you're working for a client and that project is specific to that client, then deprecated is not used. But if it is app exchange, then yes, deprecated is used. And future is something which we will be discussing in future. So just note it down that there is another annotation called future. I will be discussing future in detail in future, so let's not spend time over here now. And we have is test. This is test is also used for test classes. Test classes also is a separate topic we will be discussing in future videos. So let's not spend. So basically, just understand that these are the couple of annotations which we can use in Apex, which change the meaning of our methods or classes, right? So if I just write a method, then it's normal method, right? If I've added deprecated on top of it, that means that this method is no longer being used in future. So the people who have newly installed, they will not be able to use it, right? So aura enable, same thing as mentioned, right? So it has changed the meaning of that method. And test setup, yeah, again we will discuss this test step @test setup in our future videos. Okay, cool. These are more annotations which we might not go in detail, but it's good to memorize few of them. Invocable variable, JSON access, namespace accessible, read only, remote actions. Okay, suppress warnings, test visible, rest resources, HTTP get, HTTP patch, HTTP post, HTTP put. Okay, I'm sure if you have prepared, or if you have gone through the Salesforce training, you might have come across all of these annotations in here. But yeah, these are the few things which you can just remember and then explain in the interview if ever question has been asked on annotations. Cool. So next question is what are some governor limits which are very frequently encountered in Salesforce? Okay, there are many governor limits, but what are the governor limits which which as a developer you will be very frequently encountering? Okay, so if you have not if you don't know governor limits, go back to my one of the videos in I think third or fourth video in the admin series. So there I have explained what is governor limits. Okay, here we will be going through what are the different governor limits we have in Salesforce Apex. Okay, so these are the few governor limits, and these are per transaction. Per transaction, first you have to understand this. Okay, per transaction means, let's suppose I have got a form to save an account, right? I've opened a form, I have entered the details, whatever fields I have to fill in, I have filled in, and I click on save. As soon as I click on save, and until the time it got saved into the database, it is called as one transaction. Okay. So these are, so whatever logic runs behind the scene is considered as one transaction. Okay. So the total number of SOQL queries issued 100. Okay, you might be wondering why I will write 100 SOQL queries. Okay, I might write 10, 20, 15, right? So yeah, I mean, you might not write a lot of SOQL queries, and you should not write a lot of SOQL queries. In a class, maybe I've used 5 methods, and I might have written 5 SOQL queries. Yeah, that should be fine, but you might end up working on a very big enterprise level project wherein there are so many classes. And I mean, I know, at least I have seen classes with 10,000 lines of code as well, right? So if you're running in one transaction a big process, and then it might hit the governor limits because you might have not used the best practices. Okay, sometimes developer might have written for loop in SOQL queries inside for loop. Okay, so then only then also this the number of SOQL queries count get increases. Okay, then it hits the limit. Okay, you have to be really careful. Or there are other scenarios wherein you have written maybe 1 or 2 methods and maybe 2 SOQL queries, but it is repeatedly going to a workflow and coming back to the class, going to the workflow and coming back to the class, or going to the process builder and coming back to the class based on something, right? Every time it comes back to the class, it is counting that SOQL method as one query. Okay, that time also you will hit the limit. Okay, so yeah, that is nothing but you cannot have 100 SOQL. So normally you get an issue 101 SOQL errors. Okay, so your interviewer might ask you what is 101 SOQL error. So you should be ready to answer that. Okay, so here is asynchronous, synchronous, and synchronous. I might not go in detail about synchronous and asynchronous now, because this we will discuss in detail in future videos. Synchronous is nothing but, I'll just give you a brief, is nothing but executing something immediately. Okay, and here the execution is not done immediately. It will be queued, or something will happen, or partially something will be executed, and partial logic will be queued, right? So if we are not running immediately, that is nothing but the asynchronous. Okay, so for asynchronous we have a little bit higher limit, double the limit of synchronous. So here we can have 100 SOQLs, here we can have 200 SOQLs. So total number of records retrieved by SOQL queries, 50,000 records. Okay, in asynchronous also 50,000 records. Okay, but interviewer might ask you over here, okay, for example, if I want to have if I am having some, let's suppose 10,000, not 10,000, if I have 1 lakh records, or maybe 70,000 records which I want to display. Okay, then what? Or if I want to retrieve 10,000 records, sorry, 70,000 records, in a transaction, then what should happen, right? So see, you have to explain him basically. So what is the basic requirement, right? You should ask counter questions to the interviewer itself, like why do you need what is the reason you need 70,000? You want to display those 70,000 records, or you want to do some processing on those 70,000 records, or what exactly you want to do? Think about it, right? As a general, this is my screen, right? I cannot display 50,000 records on one screen, right? If you want to display some 50,000 records on a screen, it is not possible. If it is not possible, then what is the reason? Why are we getting even 50,000 records also, right? I'm saying maybe I hardly can see only 10 to 20 or maybe maximum 30 records in my screen, right? Why am I getting 50,000 records itself in the first place, right? So that is the big question. So you have to ask for what reason you want this, right? And he said, okay, yeah, I have so many things for a record. For example, for a customer, if I write a customer's name, he has done, let's suppose, some 70,000 transaction. I want to see it. Yeah, that's fine. So what you can do is, for that you can use pagination, right? Pagination, what it does is, we can, whatever we can display in a one page, will get only that many records, and as soon as they click page number 2, page number 3, page number 4, right, we can get the rest of the records accordingly, right? So that, even that is not, that is where 50,000 is not required. Then he stressed, no, my requirement is I need 70,000 or 1 lakh records, right, to be processed. Then you can simply tell them, guide them that, okay, go to maybe batch classes, right? Batch classes, if you want to do some processing, just go to batch classes. Batch classes can handle so many records, which we'll see in future, right? So like that, you have to answer to the interviewer. This is really important. Okay, so yeah, if you are very perfect in this, I think that's more than enough. But yeah, we'll see a few more as well. So total number of records retrieved by database.getQueryLocator. So getQueryLocator is something which which I think we use in batch. So we can use 10,000 records in synchronous and 10,000 records in asynchronous. Okay, but that can repeatedly run. So total number of social queries issued. Here we can issue 100 sockles, but here we can issue 20 social. Okay, asynchronous also we can issue 20 social queries. Okay, so total number of records retrieved by a single social, we can only retrieve 2,000. Okay, whereas sockle we can retrieve 50,000, but for social we can retrieve only 2,000. Even for asynchronous, 2,000. I don't see any reason why do we even need social for asynchronous, because social is somewhere we use for searching the data in there. Okay, so anyhow, yeah, so this is the limitation. So next question is total, yeah, same question, but the continuation. The total number of DML statement issues. DMLs are nothing but update, insert, and deletes. So how many we can issue DML operation, right? So we can issue 150 DMLs. Okay, in synchronous 150 as well as in asynchronous 150. Okay, so the question arises over here, why do 150 is enough, is the first question. Okay, because let's say the interviewer will confuse you here. Okay, this is also one of the important thing you have to focus on. Okay, interviewer might grill you here as well. So interviewer might ask you, okay, I have 200 records and I want to insert 200 records. So which means that I might be inserting or I might be issuing 200 DML statements. Okay, you have to think carefully over here. So you have to think about the code bulkification. Okay, I think I have explained you in my previous videos how do we bulkify the code. We will not insert each record at a time, right? What we do, we add all the 200 records or 150 record in a list, right? And we issue only one insert statement per list. So what happened, I have added 200 records in a list, and then I have insert that list. So it is only one DML, even though I am inserting 200 records, but I'm adding into a list and then I'm inserting. So right, that is nothing but code bulkification, right? So you have to tactically answer this one. Don't get confused, that okay, yeah, 200 records I have to insert means we are having only 150 DML limitation, right? Don't get confused. So you can answer that 150 will never be used actually if you use code bulkification, if you use best practices. Okay, and also don't do the DMLs inside the for loop, right? So then also you will hit the limit. So these are the few pointers. If you point to the interviewer, then he will be satisfied. Okay, more than satisfied, I would say. So maximum number of methods with a future annotation allowed per Apex invocation. So as I said, we will be discussing future in future classes or future videos. But how many methods we can call? So we can write feature annotation on for a method, right? So how many such methods we can have per transaction? No one will do 50, but there is I have never seen we have hit a limitation for future methods, because maximum one or two. Yeah, I have seen that much only, right? So maximum one or two methods will use, even for a big things, not more. So this limit might not hit unless you are doing some bad programming. Okay. And zero in batch and future context. So we cannot use future in batch apex. Okay. And one in a queuable context. Okay. So maximum CPU time on Salesforce servers. So this is also one of the very frequently, I would say, hitting governor limit, in the real time. And the time for the synchronous is 10,000 milliseconds, right? So what happens is, sometimes we will write some code very complex. I'll tell you an example, real time example, when I have seen this hit a lot of time. So we will be building Excel sheet by writing the Salesforce code. Okay. Yeah, we have got a lot of good things, to use with, but, I've seen code and programs wherein, we are retrieving the data, and the data is of 50,000 records, right? And we are trying to build the Excel or that in a CSV format, and then uploading it to, or attaching it to that record, right? So basically that will take a lot of processing time. Okay. So then it will hit the CPU limit. Okay. As well as I think I have seen this CPU time limit hits when we do a lot of logic, which is to do with uh, yeah, some complex logic. If we do then if you have not written the proper code, or right code, or optimized code, then CPU time limit will hit. Okay. This you should review the code, and then you should be able to fix this easily if you're an experienced programmer. And then for asynchronous, it will be 60,000 milliseconds. Okay. Maximum number of event bus dot publish calls for platform events configured to publish immediately. So this I have not seen this, because platform events itself is a really new topic. Okay. So companies have started using it, but not to that extent. Yeah, 150 is the limit, and asynchronous also 150 limit, right? So you cannot publish more than 150 events at a time. Okay. So these are all the governor limits we come across. Go through it thoroughly. Okay. Try to repeat this 50 question number 53 many times, because if interviewer started asking you governor limit question, then you should be able to answer if you go through this. So that's it for today. So as I said, for your references, just go to help.salesforce.com and search whatever you want, whatever references you want. Search from these sites first, and then refer other sites. Thanks for watching. I hope this video helped you prepare for your Salesforce developer interview and crack your next job. If you have any questions which you want me to include in my videos, maybe you might have encountered in an interview, right? You were not able to give that answer, just type it in the comments. I'll try to add it in the future videos. Or maybe I'm planning to have a separate video series only for I would say scenario based series. Okay, will come up in future, right? So I'll add into those. So post it in the comments below. And if you like this video, make sure to hit and subscribe to my channel right now. That way, you don't miss the Salesforce interview question and answer videos like this one.